Today, I am going to teach you about mouth rigging. So I am using the mouth form color coding technique, which I basically just made up, but it works. So let's do that. Okay, so I have both projects open at the same time, and I have the references that I received from Gull, who is the VTuber for this lovely model, because for some reason everyone's mouth tracking is a little bit different. So if you want to customize it to the person, this is a good way to do that. So we're gonna get the mouth, and I'm going to do a path deformer. It's just gonna be something simple like that. And we want to do the same with the lower mouth, which ideally would be the same shape. But you can never get the path deformer exactly the same. Unless you copy paste, but we don't do that around here. Okay. And the upper mouth line is in fact glued to the skin. You can see it's the same points, the same mesh, except for the outline. So if you go to glue, you can see that this is fully red because I want the skin to deform to the mouth completely, fully. Right, so what we're gonna do is we're going to bind upper and lower mouth to mouth form real quick. And let's do it mouth open as well. So we have the basic points here. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to go to the mouth form test, and we want to find all of these colors. Because as you can see, if I go around mouth form and mouth open, the color changes. So I can see exactly where the vowels are. If that makes sense. Okay, so we want to find the E, right? E, U, I, A, O is what we're looking for, which I marked over here. So if we look for the E, it's around here. This looks like the right color for that. This doesn't work when you're colorblind, by the way, just a heads up. And I do feel bad about this, but you know, it is what it is. So we are on 0.8. So 0.8 is probably around the upper limit for the mouth tracking here. Okay. Okay. What were we on again? 0.8. Got it. So we want to go to 0.8. Oop, not that. And here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to deform the mouth to the E sound. And this is basically how it works. For some reason, Live2D is bugging a little bit, which isn't great, but we can deal with it. And naturally, the lips would be a little bit thinner as the mouth opens. Although I think the upper needs to go up a little bit. Okay, yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so we have the eh sound. And we're going to refine all of this after I get the basic vowels in. So, that's the eh sound. Now the u. The u is... Ooh, that's down here, huh? Okay, low threshold, got it. 0.2. At the 0 point. Okay. I can give you a 0.1. 0.2, 0.1. That looks about right for the U. So now we need to deform this, and this is not happening apparently. I forgot about that. I forgot that I need to actually put it in properly in the keyforms. Okay. Okay, that looks about right. The next one is E. Where is it? I would assume it's more to this side. However... Nope, it's down here. 0.3? Yeah, around 0.3 I'd say. Okay. So that is the E. Okay, and this naturally almost forms the sound. So I think we've done a really good job on that already. Because if this naturally forms the shape that the mouth needs to make, then I think we're good. I think we're good. That's about right. Okay, we're doing great. And now, let's see. 0.8 minus 0.3. I have minus 0.2, which I think could work. And I have 0.8. Okay, so this is the A. Yeah, I think that's about right. Okay, good. Okay, and that's an A. The last vowel is an O. Which is probably further this way. And all the way up. Okay. 0.51. That does sound about right, actually. That does sound about right. That looks about right, actually. Okay, I'm not too unhappy with that. I do need to deform this a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna close the mouth. And then we're gonna add more meshing. When in doubt, add more mesh. So we have successfully used the mouth form test with the color coding to identify where all the vowels are. A little more elaboration, the way this works is you send the mouth form test as like the rendered file to the client. They boot it up in like VTuber Studio or any other preferred tracking software. They sound out the vowels and then send you screenshots back of those vowels. And then you can take those screenshots, put it like in your reference sheet. And then you can find all of the colors and match it with like the parameter points on the mouth. If that makes sense. I know that sounds complicated, but it's actually easier than it looks or sounds. But yeah, that's what we've been doing. So I think we can get rid of the mouth form test now. And just focus on the model. Because we've gotten all of the vowels in. Now everything seems to be leaning to this side. And this looks a little bit barren. So what we're gonna do is we're going to have repeated mouth forms. And what that means is once we get over to this side, it's going to repeat some of the mouth forms from this side just to make sure that if you happen to get to this side at some point, the mouth still moves. And for this, I'm going to be using like the most standard points of where the mouth form should be. For example, this should be the A, although the A is over here, if that makes sense. So first, I'm going to make sure all of these are properly filled in. So what I'm gonna be doing is we're going to use common sense to figure out how to shape the mouth here. So since this is where the O is, and this is the only line, like on this line, the O is the only vowel that appears. So we're gonna go for a small O to big O, basically. I don't know if anything I say makes sense, but I hope it does. I hope this makes sense to everyone. I don't know what it is, but everyone's mouth tracking is different. And before I started doing like custom mouth forms, I always got those comments like, yeah, the rigging's great, but the mouth forms are a bit off. And it was like, I don't understand how, because they're not off for me. But eventually I figured out that it is in fact different for everyone. So I cannot take myself as a benchmark when it comes to mouth forms, unfortunately. We're gonna do it a little bit rough, but we can go back and fix later, because I can see a few real rough patches here. Control Shift copy and Control Shift paste. And we got everything selected, which means we can just make it bigger through the regular deforming brush. And here we'll copy and paste from there. And we'll make it a little bit smaller from here. So on this line, it's just an O in varying degrees of size, which logically makes sense to me. And it'll probably work as intended. So this is the U. which turns into an A. And because the upper limit isn't filled out, we're gonna copy, paste the A, and we're gonna make this a little bit bigger. Let's really stretch that out. So if we ever hit the upper limit, it's going to be a bigger A basically. Now I need to start filling this as an A from the moment it stopped being an U. So we're going to stretch this out a bit. And this is like really rough. I'll make it smoother after I've got all of the basic parameter points filled. So this is gonna start being an A at this point. So this line starts as an U, becomes an A the further up it goes. This point is an E and an E. I think from here up until here, here up until here maybe, the teeth would be closed, and we're gonna stretch that until here, if that makes sense. I eventually stopped counting in the amount of parameter points that I have for the mouth forms, because it's really different for everyone. It's just as needed at this point. So the only distinction I make is between standard and custom mouth forms. This is a complex rig, which is always custom mouth forms. So, okay. We got this all done, and this looks really good. The vowels are all grouped in this little area, but it's starting to look really good over here. So what we want to do here, since this is an O, we'll do this, what this would be standard, I think. So we're going on the parameters that we don't have vowels on. We're gonna go with the standard vowels basically, where they would be otherwise on a standard model. It's sometimes easier to just copy paste things, just so you have an easier base to work off of. And here we're just going to make it smaller again. And like I said, this is where the standards, how the standard mouth forms look. So we're going to use that as filler for everywhere that there's no vowels. Just in case there are vowels there. If that makes sense. I feel like I'm just talking absolute shit today. But it makes sense to me. I don't know how to explain this. And we're going to open up the mouth on the 0.1 because it seemed like there was a very low threshold on the U. So this makes sense to me. And this makes sure that, like, people tend to mumble is the thing. And like that's not against people. I do it too. But to kind of combat that, you will want to put the mouth open on like a very low threshold. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go plus 0.3. And what we want to do is we want to hang on to that E sound, because that's usually where it starts jittering a little bit on the VTuber model. So we want to copy, paste, copy, paste. We want to do this all the way over. So we have kind of a solid foundation for the non-jitter. So when we're hanging in this area, it is not jittery. And then we want to replicate this line over here. And there is a little bit of jitter, but that's because I'm going pretty fast. There. Because you would not be from this end to this end in an instance if you're talking. So... but yeah, that's kind of what that looks like. And now we need to adjust the rest. For example, the mouth inner, I saw a few spots where that needs to be adjusted. So we're gonna have to get every parameter point. I think that's good. Now we need the teeth. Because they do move. Upper teeth, usually not a lot. But, you know, some people are very against moving the top teeth. However, I say let them move. It is cuter that way. Okay, the top teeth move a little bit, but it is not like an insane amount, so I think we're good. And now we take the lower jaw, which is supposed to move a lot. In every scenario, the lower jaw moves. Now the next step would be to adjust the jaw. So we're going to find the head base. We're gonna make a new warp deformer on top of that called jaw. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'm a bit scatterbrained. I should adjust this. There we go. That actually looks pretty good. So what I was doing, jaw. So I'm going to start by binding this to mouth open and just opening the jaw. And now you can see that the entire face pretty much moves when the mouth moves. Okay, now let's grab the nose. Make another deformer under the main nose deformer. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the nose according to the mouth movements. Because everything in your face, all of your facial muscles are connected. So if the mouth opens up like that, the nose moves up as well. And that will make the face look more natural. A lot of the times it can come out a little bit stiff. Like facial expressions can come out a bit stiff. But if you make sure that you're aware of like all of the muscles in your face being connected and you move things accordingly, it can make the face look a lot smoother. And a lot more expressive too. So one last thing we want to do about the mouth is we want to adjust it for the X and Y. So the mouth is already bound. So what we can do is we can do this. And it still looks flat, but that is the correct shape we're looking for. So we reflect motion horizontally, and that is the correct shape. We want to make the mouth a little bit smaller when looking down, and a little bit larger when looking up, because from the perspective, the mouth is going to be closer to you when you're looking up and further from you when you're looking down, if that makes sense. Okay. And then we Control 4 to synthesize corners. So another thing we want to do is we want to adjust the parts inside of the mouth. And I very smartly did not name any of my layers. But that's okay. So I want to create a deformer inside of the deformer we already made and place it on head X. And with this, we are making it less flat. We're pulling this back. And then we reflect motion on that. Name your layers. I will name it after this. How about that? I will name my deformers after this. I kind of want to speed through this because I'm planning to edit this VOD into a comprehensive tutorial on how to do mouths with a lot less yapping from me. I will edit most of my yapping out. Okay, So now we have kind of a 3D effect inside of the mouth. And we want to do the same with looking up and looking down. Because when you look up, you'll see the top teeth a lot more than the lower teeth, right? Because the lower teeth are obscured by the lip. So the lower teeth will go down when looking up. And will go up when looking down. And then we take the top teeth as well, make a new deformer inside of the other deformer. We put this on head Y. And we want to push the top teeth up a little and then push them down. So it actually has some depth to it. I forgot, for the lower teeth we need to control 4 to synthesize corners. So that even on the corners we get that depth that we want. Now if there are more layers inside of the mouth, because that can happen, there could be more layers inside of the mouth, then obviously you'll need to adjust those layers to look 3D when the mouth moves. But yeah, so this is now a 3D effect inside of the mouth, which is good. Let's see if this still makes sense. It makes sense. Okay. And that is how you rig a mouth. I'm not doing V-Bridger yet. I'm not doing V-Bridger yet. But this is how you rig a basic mouth with custom mouth forms.